Hi, I'm back again. Well, I thought since I'm going to make some cookies that I would go ahead and video it. So here it goes. Well, I got some, I broke up some walnuts in the bowl to put some walnuts in there. And I'm going to put, it's a recipe that a friend had taught me a long time ago. And I had it written down. Now I have it memorized. And I can adapt it and do just about anything I want with it. Well, for any kind of, like making peanut butter cookies and all that, even though that requires a little bit different way of doing things. But anyway, here it goes. That's the walnuts. There's about half a cup of walnuts in there. And then here's a cup of vegetable oil. And then let's see. Let me wash this out. And then it takes a cup of brown sugar and a cup of regular sugar, but I'm going to use less because I'm going to put majol dates in there. I'll be right back. Well, anyway, it takes less sugar for this recipe because I'm going to put majol dates in there, and they're very sugary. So I made some the other day, and I decided that the next time I make some that I'll use less sugar. So I'm going to just eyeball it. Usually it takes a cup for this recipe. But I'm going to use more like 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. And then I think about 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, but maybe even less than that. Probably not quite, a little over half a cup of white sugar. And then I think I'm gonna put, the recipe was a little dry the last time, so I don't know if it was because I packed the flour more or what. So I think I'm gonna use a little bit of butter in it if it turns out dry. Okay, so it also takes a teaspoon of baking soda. And a teaspoon of salt. And a teaspoon of vanilla. So that is, you can put anything you want into it, but the basic recipe is a cup of vegetable oil, a cup of sugar, a cup of brown sugar, light brown sugar, or whatever sugar you want to use, and then a teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 egg, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. That's what we got so far. Okay, So I'm mixing the liquid ingredients together first, but I went ahead and put the walnuts in there. So 1 egg. Well, it's a nice simple recipe. And you can adapt it to put just about anything in there probably. And anyway, so now I got everything, the liquids in there. There's just the vegetable oil for now. And then I've got the baking soda and the salt and the sugars. Brown sugar and white sugar. And then the walnuts. So I'm going to stir. I don't use a blender. My blender somehow got broke. And so I've just been stirring everything that I do with by hand with my spoon. Sometimes I'll use a whisk, but most of the time I've just been using my spoon. And just stir it all up real good and get the everything distributed evenly into the liquid mixture. Here's a picture of it. It's just the sugars and the walnuts and the oil and the egg. Get the egg incorporated in there real good so the cookie recipe turns out good. So anyway, I had been working through the pandemic, or the COVID pandemic, because I was considered an essential worker, and my car got broke down. There we go. My car got broke down, so I ended up being off work here for about a month or 5 weeks or so, and then I got a little bit of work, and then I got to go traveling for some work, not last week, but the week before. So my work's been cut down considerably because I've been working out ways to get myself to work, but I can't just do it like I used to with my car anytime I wanted. So that's probably a good thing. I needed to rest my body. I was working hard, and so that's what I've been up to. And I made some fir needle homemade soap, and been doing cooking, making lots of biscuits and gravy. I finally got biscuits and gravy perfected. Well, at least a lot better than what it used to be. I used to make biscuits and it was hard as a rock. So I got busy doing that and was able to accomplish biscuits and gravy, which is good because I've gotten a lot of flour. I took some of that money and bought a lot of flour and sugar and some, what do you call them? Some staples for the pantry that will help in cooking meals, making some simple and some more with baking and using flour. I tried making noodles. I made some gnocchi, and so that was interesting. I haven't attempted any of that yet since then, but they did turn out pretty good. I was surprised the noodles tasted really well, and so did the gnocchi. Tasted really good. I think I did. Yeah, made that one time too, and I really liked it. And I make bread. I've been making that for a few years now. Some regular yeast bread with bread flour, and then I put certain things in it sometimes to make it taste a little different. I put hemp seeds in there usually all the time. Sometimes I'll put spices in there. Or I haven't tried. I don't think I've tried cheddar and jalapeno yet, but I made some cinnamon bread with nuts in it not too long ago. But anyway, so then I got to get the flour in there. Oh, and chocolate chips. Let me get the chocolate chips. I got to break my chocolate chips up a little bit because I had them in the car when I bought them this last summer here a few months ago, and they got a little melted. Just slightly though, not too bad. So usually, I think the recipe takes like a cup. I can't remember, but I'm putting a lot of different things in here, so I'm just gonna eyeball my chocolate chips. I think I'm gonna put about half a bag in there because I've got walnuts, and I'm gonna put dates in there too. So this way I can not use up all my chocolate chips, and I can have a different tasting cookie. I'm gonna cut up some dates too here. Anyway, so they're fresh medjool dates. They got the seeds in them. Oops, excuse me. Well, anyway, now I just cut it down the middle here, and it's got a seed in there. And I've tried to plant these medjool date seeds before, and it wasn't very successful. You're supposed to start them off like in the refrigerator, and trying to get you a good picture of what it looks like. It's a really hard seed, and you're supposed to start them off in the refrigerator and try to sprout them in the refrigerator, or at least soften them up, I think is how it goes. I looked it up on the internet how to seed them, and it was pretty interesting. I got pretty excited about it. I don't know, I get quite addicted to the scriptures in the Bible, and I've looked up, I'm going to just take these seeds out. I've looked up in the Book of Solomon about the palm trees, and I was wanting to plant some palm trees, but I was unsuccessful where I was living at the last time. I just couldn't get them to go to seed, so I probably just didn't do it right, or I just need to keep practicing on it. And you can order them off of eBay already sprouted, and some of them it'll tell you how tall they are, and they send them in the mail to you. But anyway, I was trying to do it from these seeds here, and was not successful at doing it, but I'm not going to give up. Hopefully one day I can try it again. I know they need, if they're by the sand and the ocean and all that, they got a lot of good moisture there, and the heat and the humidity will help to get them to come open too. So anyway, what's interesting about them is, and I looked it up on the internet, how to grow them, and how much they're really popular over in the other countries, over what do they call Europe and the Middle East and all that, and they're pretty interesting. They have the female and the male. I think it's a female. Let's see, I can't remember. It's been so long since I read it. They have a female. I don't think it's a female and male tree. Anyway, they have to pollinate. There have to be one or the other. But that's what they were saying in the on the internet. But I'm not real sure about that, because it looked like there were male and female parts there on the same tree. But when the male, I guess he's the one that would be the one that would put off the spores, I think, that pollinate the female parts on the tree. And I guess when the wind blows, it's probably better with two trees. That way it can blow onto the other tree, and you're more likely to get them to be pollinated that way when the wind blows, because for them to pollinate. And if it's just one tree, maybe it won't be likely, that there'll be as much pollination, because when it goes to pollinate, it'll go in one direction when the wind blows, and then it might, unless, of course, there's a storm or something, but then it could all hit the ground, I guess. But anyway, it would have to blow across the other plant or the other part of the tree in order to fertilize them. And it was pretty interesting. Oh, and the babies grow up out of the bottom of the tree trunk, down around the base. And then they just cut them off or replant them somewhere else when the babies come up. I don't know exactly how they do all of that to maintain, you know, and the dates and everything. To keep them all the same size, they have perfected certain trees to make them this looks like about a third or a half a cup of dates. They've perfected certain trees to make the dates as big as they can get them. If you plant the seeds that you get in the store out of the dates, then they say that they're not going to be, they won't be as big and maybe not as fruitful as the trees that they originally come from over in another country. I'm trying to, where did that lid go? And then, let's see, I'm trying to see where I can find out. It says they're natural and 0 pesticides, 0 additives, and 0 added sugar. And I'm trying to look and see where these came from. Oh, these are from Yuma, Arizona. So that's how we ended up getting figs or dates in our kosher for Passover, it says. And contains the pits or the seeds. And packed by Date Pack LLC, Yuma, Arizona. So they're packed there. So I don't know if they are actually grown in Arizona or what. But anyway, it doesn't say. But anyway, they might be coming from over, it says Bard Valley, Natural Delights. So wherever that is. So anyway, I think that'll be enough. I'll just pour them in here with the chocolate chips and the walnuts. And then I'm going to add the flour here in a little bit. This way I get them all mixed up in there. And then I'm going to use my hands to mix the batter. Wash your hands again here because I'm getting ready to do that. But they're pretty fascinating trees, and it's fascinating to learn about. If you want to try to grow your own, a lot of people can grow avocados pretty well, or at least I've been able to get my avocado tree to a foot high, but that's as far as I can get it to grow, and then it dies in a pot. But excuse me. I think I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla butternut flavor. It's like this. It's like an extract. Like the vanilla that you put in there. It gives it a little bit of a richness to it, as long as you don't put a whole bunch in there. I think I might have got too much in there. Well, let's see if I can get some of it out. There. Okay, so now I'm going to put the flour in there. And it takes 3 cups of flour. And I don't know, maybe that's why I needed to add more liquid to it, more oil, because maybe the recipe called for a long time ago that you're supposed to sift it. I usually just fluff it around in the bag. I'll pick up a big scoop of it, then I'll dump it back down in the bag here, and then it's packed pretty tight, but then you can fluff it up a little bit so you don't get so much of it being so packed tight, and then we'll see how it goes from the from adding stuff to it. or adding more liquid to it. Okay, so anyway, now I'm gonna stir it up. Oh, I think I'll put a few oats in there too, some oatmeal. So it takes 3 cups of flour, all-purpose flour, 1 cup of vegetable oil, 1 egg, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And I put a little bit of butternut flavor in there too. And it's a little bit dry, so I think I'm going to add, I was going to add some butter in there, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pour some olive oil since I got it right here. Well, no, I'll just pour a little bit of olive oil. Just drizzle it in there a little bit to see if I can get it a little more incorporated. And I'm not going to make regular cookies. I've decided that I don't want to get up and down off the chair all night long or stand around baking in this. I'm just going to put it in a cooking pan. I'll show you here in a minute. And cut it in squares when I get done, when it gets done in the oven. Oh, let me turn the oven on. I guess, let's see, I usually put, I'm afraid some ovens sometimes will be too hot, so I just cook mine on 300. I think it's supposed to be 350, but I usually put mine on 300 because I don't know. This oven that I've got here, it seems to be a little hot, so I just go ahead and turn it down. That way I can be sure that it's not going to burn a whole lot or nothing. And I'm going to try to, I got 2 containers I'm going to put it in, 2 cooking pans. Now if you squeeze it together and it holds like that, I think that's pretty good. I don't think I need, maybe a little more olive oil. I'll stir it up a little bit more. Whoops. There, we'll go with that. Okay, so now, I don't think we have to grease it, but I think I'll go ahead and put some butter in the pan, in the bottom, just in case. And a little bit up on the sides, because it's going to be kind of like a brownie. But it's actually just a cookie. So here's my first pan, just one of these, and I'm going to put in quite a bit of it. The last time I put all of it, and it was a little too much, because it made it be a little too thick, and it didn't cook in the middle all the way. So I think I'm going to do it a layer a little thinner. I guess I put about half of it in there. And you just pack it down. There. So there's this one. There's about, I don't know, less than half an inch in the bottom of the pan. So it cooks all the way through, because last time I put the whole batch in there, and it didn't cook all the way through. I guess I already said that, didn't I? Well, anyway, so now I'm gonna put this part in here in a loaf pan, and I'm gonna bake it up too. And this way, I just cut them into squares when it gets done, and then I can just cook it pretty much all at once. I think is what we'll do. And I'm new at this, so I'm going to try to leave the recipe down in the description below when I get done here. And hopefully I'll be able to successfully do that. I think it does. I think it lets you write anything in the comments, they call it, or something. And so I should be able to get the recipe in there pretty good. There's that one. I think I'm going to put the rest of this and distribute it into this pan. I got a little left over. There's that. There. Now, we'll wash the hands off. And then we're going to put it in the oven on 300. But I think it normally calls for in the oven for 350. But you're supposed to put them in balls, too, when you cook the recipe. You can roll them in balls to make cookies. Oh, I think it's about the size of a golf ball. I guess when you make cookies, you can decide how you want to do that. And then, well, here they go into the oven. And I think it's about 10 minutes. It might take a little longer the way I've got them in this one pan. There. And I put less sugar in it this time, so they won't be so sweet, because the dates make it really sweet. So anyway, I think they ought to turn out really good. The dates make it kind of like real old-fashioned homemade type, and with the walnuts in it and the chocolate chips. If you don't put a whole lot in there, you just get a few chocolate chips here and there, and then it's kind of, I don't know, makes it really flavorful. Anyway, I don't know how to bring you back when it gets done, so I might have to post another video in 10 minutes. So I think that's what I'll do, because I don't know how to add to my videos yet and stop and start. Well, I'll see you in 10 minutes.